The Department of Justice filed a federal lawsuit against activist groups and individuals who targeted a synagogue in New Jersey during a November 24th protest that escalated into violence. Now, the lawsuit was filed under the FACE Act. That's short for the Freedom of Access to Clinic Entrances Act, which, as I've been talking about, was signed into law in 1994 by Bill Clinton, and it has been used increasingly in recent years against peaceful pro-life protesters. Okay? Now, this was created, as I mentioned, back during the 90s when Operation Rescue was blockading clinics. Well, before the bill passed, this is how this provision got in here. And I know because I was tracking this very closely back then. I was a police officer, all right? The bill was amended by the late Utah Senator Orrin Hatch to provide parity, and it made it illegal to disrupt a worship service. Now, I'll be candid. I've been advocating that this law be used to protect churches for years. In fact, in the last Trump administration, I called on them to use it. Many conservatives didn't want it to be used. They wanted it to go away. My view was, if you use it to protect churches, it will go away because the left will want to get rid of it. Well, the Department of Justice has used it as a prosecution tool against pro-Palestinian groups that targeted a Jewish synagogue. Joining me now to discuss this is Dr. Moshe Glick. He is the president of the New Jersey chapter of Israel 365, which we work with, and he's the host of the synagogue event that was targeted last November by the mob. Dr. Glick, welcome to Washington Watch. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me, Tony. Appreciate it.
Well, I'm grateful that the Department of Justice is pursuing this. Describe for our viewers and listeners what transpired on the night of November 13th.
Yeah, you and me both are really happy that the Department of Justice is engaged in this. And I want to start off by thanking Harmeet Dillon, who's done an incredible job, Pam Bondi, and President Trump. For too long, these groups have been able to just run roughshed around synagogues and churches. And, we see increasing violence in churches. We just saw two vicious attacks, in Michigan, Utah, and the music just plays on and no one's really taken a stand. And so we're really excited that this happened.
Now, this was not just people disrupting. I mean, this was a violent mob that left many of those attending in fear of their safety.
Yeah, it was terrifying. So I've been involved in Zionist and Judeo-Christian initiatives for a very long time. And I've been to plenty of protests and just activities where we support America, we support Israel. And this was the first time that I've ever seen a violent incident transpire at one of these events. The crazy thing about the whole thing was I was one that ended up getting arrested at the end of the night. So what basically transpired is we had a religious service at Congregation Or Torah, one of the synagogues in West Orange, New Jersey, where my wife and I live. And just a group of aggressive protesters just descended on the synagogue, a mob, and shouting the most vile anti-Semitic tropes. It felt like 1930s Germany. And the group basically stormed up to the synagogue. Police, we had coordinated with the police in advance. They did not have a permit. I actually emailed the police in advance. They did not have a permit to march. Police still allowed them to marched right up to where we were holding our service. Part of the service was outdoors, part of it was inside, where we sang songs. We had psalms, we had read psalms. There was a sermon from the Bible, and the group came in blowing these vuvuzelas, and I didn't know what they were until recently. A vuvuzela, if your audience doesn't know, they've been banned in many stadiums. It's a obnoxiously loud horn. Blew these vuvuzelas, disturbing the event. And I'm not sure how much detail you want me to get into, but that's kind of how it started.
So let me ask you this question. You said you were arrested because one of those was blown near your ear, and these things can cause hearing loss because they are extremely loud. You pushed it away. Is that the reason you were arrested?
So no, that was the beginning of it. So what actually transpired is the vuvuzela gets blown right into my ear, and we have video, and I'm happy to share with your audience the video of what transpired. I pushed the vuvuzela away, clear video evidence, and then one attacker just takes a very aggressive stance, starts coming forward towards me. I back up. I'm not looking to get into an altercation. I'm a dentist. I've never had anything more than a speeding ticket in my life. The last thing I was looking was to throw down. And then another attendee from the event, I didn't see this at the moment, actually pepper sprays this individual who was about to launch an attack. He gets pepper sprayed. The individual, and we'll throw his name out there since it's public record, Altaf Sharif. He then, about 7 or 8 or 9 seconds, he's kind of rubbing his eyes. The pepper spray incident is over, and then he doesn't know where he got pepper sprayed from. Another individual there points out and says, "That's the Jew," literally points at him. Mr. Sharif then launches into and again, I'm happy to share the video, launches into a pretty violent attack, puts this smaller individual, his name is David Silberberg, puts him into a chokehold. The first thing I see is this, and I yell out. I'm screaming for the police. There was enough police around. Police, police, police. The police don't come. He basically tackles him down a hill in front of the synagogue. They kind of get to the bottom of this small hill. I then attempt to push Mr. Sharif off using my hands. He's a much larger individual,
Right.
Doesn't budge. And go ahead.
I mean, well, I was just going to say the police are standing there. This is what's happening when the police allow this lawlessness, and they allow it when it's targeted at churches and synagogues. Thankfully, a new message is being sent now that the law is being enforced to protect the freedom of worship. Dr. Glick, we're out of time in this segment, but I want to thank you for coming on, and in anything we can do to help, we want to stand with the Jewish community as we have been against anti-Semitism and against these attacks against the Jewish community.
Thank you, Tony, and we want to stand with our Christian brothers as well in our shared Judeo-Christian values. And you see as much as we see what's going on in this country,
Yeah.
and it's frightening. So again, thank God that Pam Bondi and Harmeet Dillon and the DOJ got involved, and hopefully this sends a message to the world.
Dr. Glick, thanks so much for joining us.